right, you guys, you see that? That is, I'm at the Pima County Jail. That is the main tower right there. That's where maximum security is. And the hole, I believe the hole's on the 4th floor. But that is where today's story is going to take place. I violated probation. I got resentenced to 6 months work release. And that means I have to stay in the jail, but I could leave the jail to go to work. So I was working at a hotel. Long story short, I had one of my guys bring me dope. I used once again and violated the opportunity by dropping dirty. I was just already too deep in, man. Too deep in. Cravings and all that just got the best of me. So once they found out I dropped dirty, they sent me to another area at the place I was at the mission. They sent me to another area for like a week, and then they sent me here to the tower. So, had to see the judge again. And that's when she sentences me to 2 years in the Arizona Department of Corrections. But I only had to do a year with all the back time and 85%. So, that's that. Just wanted to give you guys a little rundown. Just feels weird being here. Feels weird being here, man. My mind is racing right now. But I just wanted to show you guys, right? So I leave the jail for sentenced inmates is called the Mission. So they pull me out with a group of guys. They put me in a van, and then they bring me here to the main jail. Go through the whole intake process. And then they sentenced me to the towers, maximum security. That is where I met my cellie, 18-year-old kid. He was in there for a first degree murder. You know, I don't know how YouTube is with those type of words, but that's what it is, and I don't care. So I walk in, I meet this guy. I'm like, okay, cool. He's a young kid, Hispanic kid. And by the way, his whole case is closed. He was sentenced already, and he's currently doing his time in prison. He got sentenced to 25 to life with the opportunity of parole. Anyway, so this is my first time in the tower, man. And this is my first time being in a cell with another cellie. Long story short, I love that type of environment. As I mentioned before, I would rather be locked up in max. Sure, the politics are higher, but as long as you have a good cellie, you guys are breaking bread, talking, busting jokes, laughing, all that, right? As long as you have a good cellie, your time in there is going to be smooth. As long as you're not claustrophobic, your time's going to be smooth. So we were slammed in there for a week. The only time we got to go outside was on Saturdays, I believe, at 7 a.m. And it was mandatory yard. That's all I'm going to say about that. But so I walk in, and I see this kid just sitting on his bed, listening to his little portable stereo. I don't know if he was expecting the cellie, but I walk in. It was like late. I forgot how late it was in the evening. Sun went down already. And I introduced myself. I had my bedroll, introduced myself. He's like, "What's up, man? My name's Sammy." I was like, "What's up, dude? My name's Daniel, man. Nice to meet you." I just came off from violating work release. You know, I let him know the whole situation as to how I got here. And I was like, how are you, man? You doing all right? How's things here? Just asking him about this lockdown situation, because that was my first time seeing it. I've seen many YouTube videos, and I love watching that. When I was locked up in prison, me and the few guys would watch lockup while we were locked up. That was kind of weird, but it is what it is. We were at a pretty chill yard, a level 2 yard, and we were just thankful that we were there. Things could have been a lot worse for us. So yeah, so this kid and I, Sammy, we're chopping it up. And this was back in 2012, the end of 2012. I think it was like December. Anyway, so him and I chop it up. And he asks what I'm here for. I tell him my charge was a 3rd-degree felony, trafficking in stolen property. So I let him know the whole deal about that. Let him know the whole deal about my probation. And then it was my turn to ask him, right? I was like, what's up with you, man? The hell are you doing here at 18? I felt comfortable enough with this kid. I could, like, as time went on, I felt like a kind of like a father figure. He was 18, and I was like, 2012, I think like 32, 33, something like that. So I was with him for 2 months in there. So it was my turn to ask him. I was like, what the hell are you doing here, bro? And he says he's in here for murder, for 1st-degree murder. I was like, wow, bro. So inside, I'm like, holy crap, dude. Is this going to be a good situation for me? So I turn around, start banging on the door. Guard! Just kidding. I didn't do that. That was a thought, though. That was the thought inside. I was like, oh, my God. Am I going to have to get off on this kid before he gets me in the middle of the night? I'm going to wake up with both hands like around my neck. Anyway. So I was like, okay. I kept it smooth inside. I was like, damn, bro. Are you serious? So someone's pulling right up next to me. I don't know if that's a guard. I'm probably not supposed to be here. But anyway. So I talked to this guy, and when you're locked up in max, it's really not that good to ask so many questions, because you could be looked at as as an informant. There's a lot of high-profile cases in max, obviously, right? You slam down a lot of high-profile cases. While we were in there, that was around the time the whole Jodi Arias case was going on. So we got to watch some of that during day room. So I felt comfortable enough to where we could, express ourselves, chop it up. And we already developed a really good rapport. He offered me, to make me some food. He knew the food down there wasn't that good, so he offered me some food, because I didn't have my things yet, my stores and my hygiene. And so that was nice. I didn't want it at the time. I was hungry, but I declined his offer. I was like, look, man, I like working out, so maybe tomorrow morning, or afternoon after I get situated, because I didn't want to run up a debt. I knew things were high level politics in there, and I just didn't want to get into any funny business. I'm Chicano. He ran with the Pisces, so we had different programming. And I really don't want to dive deep into too much of the politics, but yeah, different programming. But him and I had a good rapport. So I felt comfortable with asking him a little more about his situation, his case. Because I was really intrigued, bro. This kid, 18, when he got hemmed up, he was 17, so he had to stay in the where all the kids stay, the juveniles stay, like separate part of the jail, for a couple months. As soon as he turned 18, they sent him to the tower. So I feel kind of weird talking about his case, because I don't talk about cases, but it's a good story, it's a good situation, and it's a good learning lesson for all the kids out there, man. And his case is closed already. He's already doing his time, and I've written him a few letters since then. So he's a real cool kid, and he didn't mind all that. So he begins to tell me, ultimately his case had to do with love. He had a love interest. He was dating a girl at the time, and he was young, obviously, so I'm sure he was kind of like jealous, whenever other men were other guys, other kids would even talk to her. So I guess one day he found some text messages on his girl's phone, and I really don't know much about that situation, but this one particular day, he went through the phone and he downloaded the Text Now app. And with that app, you could get a different phone number. So what he did is he blocked that guy's number in his girlfriend's phone. He downloaded the app, got a new number, and messaged the other kid. And he pretended to be his girlfriend. So I knew deep down inside he was definitely pissed off, man. He was definitely pissed off. So he proceeds to text this other person. They start talking. He texts this other person pretending to be his freaking girlfriend. As soon as I heard that, I already knew what the hell was going to happen and why he was in jail. I already knew. So he begins to tell me they start messaging back and forth, and ultimately Sammy texts this kid. He's like, "Hey, let's meet up." So he plans a meetup sometime at night at some apartments, and the other guy's down. He's up for it, right? He's looking forward to hang out with this girl, which is Sammy's girlfriend. So that is a crazy situation already, right? So the other guy, the other kid says he's okay. The other kid says okay. So they plan a meetup at a certain time. So Sammy goes to the location where they're supposed to meet up. He goes there early. I don't know how early, but he goes there early. And he waits for that kid to pull up. I think he texts him. I think Sammy, pretending to be his girl, texts him, "What car are you pulling up in?" Because it's dark, it's dark. The parking lot's full. So he wanted to be 100% certain which car that kid was going to be pulling up in. And he also... Actually, never mind about that. Anyway, so ultimately he gets to the location, gets there early, keeps his eyes out for the kid. And As soon as that kid pulled up, got out the car, he was walking to wherever they were going to meet up. Sammy already had eyes on him. Walks up to the kid and just presses him, just starts talking. I don't know how long, or I don't know exactly what they were saying. But in the heat of things, I think there were some punches blown or something like that. Punches thrown. Ultimately, Sammy pulls out his piece while the kid tries to run. He does what he does what you do with those pieces, right? Multiple times, a lot of times. Over 10 times. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, once that situation ended, Sammy bounced. The detectives or whatever, police found that kid laying down. They do their investigation. They do their back end work, and ultimately they speak with Sammy's girl. With all the cameras and stuff, Sammy's girl obviously wasn't there, but Sammy was. And ultimately Sammy gets hemmed up for it, right? He's under 18. So that's that situation. That's why he was locked up in the Pima County jail for first-degree murder. And that is why he is currently locked up in the Arizona Department of Corrections. But him and I, man, as soon as he told me that situation, man, I was like, man, I am so sorry you went through it. I understand why you did what you did. But damn, bro, I gave him a hug. I was like, bro, I'm so sorry you're going through this at 18. The majority of his most important years are gone, right? That's his story. But him and I, man, over time, I ultimately felt like a father figure or an older uncle. And he knew I cared for him. We got to spend a lot of time together. A lot of time together. We'd cook every day. Of course, we'd go to dinner, but we had our store. We had a good situation with that. Make each other meals. We'd throw in on some meals, make some fat burritos after we work out. I used to wrestle. Sammy used to box. So we would do some shadow boxing. He would teach me some stuff because I never boxed before. I never been in a fight. So he taught me a few drills, shadow boxing drills and combinations, all that good stuff. So we both cared for each other, man. But the part that I really, really appreciated about this kid, and I knew he had a big heart, that first night and every night afterwards while we were still together, he prayed for both of us out loud. He had the bottom bunk because he had seniority, right? He was there the longest. He had the bottom bunk already, and I had the top. I didn't mind. That was not an issue. But he prayed for us every night out loud. And he would pray for our families, for us, and our cases. Basically saying protect our family, protect us while we are in here because anything could happen. And for God to protect our future. So that was a beautiful experience. I knew things were going to be okay as soon as I heard him pray. And I had no problem sleeping. We had a lot of funny times in there, man. A lot of funny times in there. A lot of guys would get like printouts of like certain magazines, and he had a thing for Kim Kardashian. So just beautiful women, you know, he had pictures of and all that. So it was nice seeing that, especially if you're locked down for a while. I was like, damn, every girl you see is looking like a dime piece. We'd both be getting mail from our families. He was getting mail from some girls, like his friends, from Facebook. They found out what happened, so they were reaching out to him. So we shared some letters, just to pass time. We shared everything. He would take some classes. I forgot what kind of classes, but they were classes to help his case. I think it's GED and also some other stuff. So he spent some time away from the cell, and he didn't mind. He didn't mind lending me the little stereo. And while you're locked down, it's so nice to hear music because it gets you out of your head. You're so anxiety ridden, and it's just a great experience to get yourself outside of your own head while you're locked up. Everybody's stressed out. Sometimes I wouldn't even go to day room because there's just nothing but nonsense there. People getting smashed for stupid reasons, Not stupid reasons. I mean, they were legit reasons, but it was just like, damn. That was my experience in maximum security. That was my experience with an 18-year-old man that had first-degree murder, man. We had so many great experiences. As soon as I saw that judge for one last time, I got sentenced. So that night before he prayed and before I went to court, he woke up especially early to send me off with a prayer, hoping everything goes okay in court. When I come back, I let him know, I got sentenced to 2 years. So I didn't know how much time I would have to do. But after speaking with some people, they said, maybe about a year, 10, 11 months. And they were right. I only had to do 12 months. So that was that situation, man. So I went to prison, did my time. When I got out, he was finishing up his trial. So I looked him up. I sent him a letter. I'm like, bro, do you mind if I go to your sentencing? He said, no, So his sentencing was delayed a little bit. So I'm not sure if he knew that, like, the updates about his trial, but I surprised him on the day of sentencing. And when I went in there, bro, he had a huge smile on his face, man. All he had in there was family, cousins and stuff. But when he saw me, he did a double take, He did a double take and huge smile. And so it was great seeing him, man. And so he's been locked down, ever since. He started doing his time in prison in 2014. I've written him a few times. And, he'll be down for over 20 years. So, if you guys are into prayer, pray for Sammy. Pray for everybody locked down, man. Thanks for listening.